Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something straight out the gate. Men may act strong, tough, and unshakable, but deep down, every man is carrying a need, a desire, a craving for one thing: appreciation. You see, men live in a world where they are told to hustle, provide, protect, grind, and keep it all together. But what the world don't tell you is that one single compliment, just one, can flip a man's whole spirit. It can make him feel like he's 10 feet tall, like he can conquer every mountain standing in his way. And here's the truth. When the right woman gives him that compliment, it's like fuel for his soul. That's why I always say one compliment can make any man go crazy. You know what most people don't realize about men? They don't realize that men walk through life starving for recognition. I'm not talking about trophies. I'm not talking about money. I'm not even talking about the kind of recognition you put on social media. I'm talking about the kind that hits the soul. A man can wake up early in the morning, put on his boots, head out the door, and give every ounce of his energy just trying to keep a roof over his family's head, trying to fix what's broken, trying to be the dependable one. And you know what happens most days? Nobody claps for that. Nobody pats him on the back. Nobody says, hey man, I see what you're doing. He just keeps going, silently carrying the weight, because that's what men have been taught they're supposed to do. And deep down, even if he won't admit it out loud, he's hoping somebody will notice. When a man comes home from work and he's worn out, his shoulders heavy, his eyes tired, sometimes what he needs more than food on the table is just a few simple words: I'm proud of you. That's it. That little sentence can light him up in ways you wouldn't believe. It's not about ego. It's about being valued. Because a man doesn't just want to feel like a provider. He wants to feel like what he's doing actually matters. The world will tell him to be strong, but it won't thank him for it. The world will tell him to protect, but it won't honor the sacrifice. That's why when a woman he loves takes 2 seconds to recognize his effort, it becomes fuel for his soul. Think about it like this. Imagine a man has been pushing a heavy cart uphill all day long. He's sweating, his back hurts, his hands are callous, but he keeps pushing because he's got people depending on him. Now imagine someone walks up to him and says, I see you. You're strong. You're doing a good job. Suddenly, that cart doesn't feel so heavy anymore. Suddenly, he finds new strength. That's what recognition does. It doesn't remove the burden, but it makes him feel capable of carrying it. See, men are trained to stay quiet about this need. They won't come out and ask you, baby, can you just tell me you're proud of me? Because that feels weak to them. They'll hold it in, hoping you'll just notice. And when you do, it creates a shift. A man can be out in the world where nobody acknowledges his hard work, where his boss overlooks him, where his friends don't say much. But if he can come home and hear from you, you're amazing at what you do, then suddenly none of that outside noise matters. That one compliment, that one line of recognition can wipe away an entire day of stress. Now, here's the thing. Recognition doesn't cost a dime. It ain't about buying him gifts or planning something extravagant. It's just words, but those words are more powerful than you think. You can buy a man a watch and he'll like it, but you tell him you make me feel safe, you make me feel secure, and that man will wear those words like armor. He'll replay them in his mind the next time he's out there grinding. He'll walk taller because now he's not just doing it out of obligation. He's doing it because he knows you see him, you respect him, you appreciate him. And let me tell you this, when a man feels recognized, he changes the way he moves around you. He becomes more open. He becomes more attentive. He becomes more invested because recognition creates connection. Men may not talk about feelings the way women do, but they feel deeply. And the deepest way to reach that feeling is to show him that his efforts are not invisible. Recognition tells him you matter, what you do matters, who you are matters. And once he feels that, once he knows that you see him, there's no limit to what he'll do. That's why I always say one compliment can change everything. For a man, recognition is not just encouragement, it's lifeblood. A lot of people think that love alone is enough to keep a man going, but let me break it down for you. Love is powerful, no doubt about it, but admiration is what makes a man's heart beat different. A man can be loved and still feel like something is missing because love can sometimes feel like an obligation. You love your kids, you love your parents, you love your dog. That's natural. But admiration is a choice. Admiration says, I don't just love you because I have to. I respect who you are. I honor what you bring to the table, and I'm proud to stand beside you. That right there is what a man is secretly craving, even more than he'll ever admit. When a woman tells a man she admires him, it hits a part of him that nothing else can touch. You can say, I love you, and he'll smile and appreciate it. But when you say, I admire the way you handled that problem, or I admire how you carry yourself, it unlocks something in him. It makes him feel bigger than life. See, love is soft, but admiration is strong. Love warms him, but admiration builds him. And men at their core want to be built up. They want to feel like their woman sees them not just as a partner, but as a leader, a protector, someone worthy of respect. Think about it like this. A man can be in a relationship where he's told, I love you every day. But if he feels like he's never admired, eventually those words lose their shine. He starts questioning if he's really doing enough, if he's really the man he thought he was. But let that same man hear, I admire how hard you work for us. And it gives him confidence that money can't buy. Admiration validates him in a way that love by itself doesn't always cover. It's like gasoline to a fire. It keeps him burning hot. Here's another truth. A man's ego and his spirit are deeply tied to admiration. You can't feed his ego with just love. His ego grows when he feels like the person he's with sees him as capable, dependable, and strong. You tell him, you're my rock. I didn't know what I'd do without you. And watch how he straightens his shoulders. Watch how he becomes more protective, more giving, more driven. That's because admiration touches his identity. And when a man feels admired, he wants to live up to it. He wants to keep earning that admiration every single day. Now, don't get it twisted. Admiration doesn't mean you're worshiping him or acting like he's perfect. Men know they've got flaws, but admiration means you highlight the good in him. You magnify his strengths instead of nitpicking his weaknesses. You tell him, I respect how you never give up, or I admire how you take care of things even when you're tired. That lets him know you're not blind to his efforts. You're watching, you're noticing, you're valuing. That's more powerful than you can imagine because it tells him he's not just loved, he's respected. And for a man, respect is everything. Respect is oxygen. Take it away, and he suffocates. Give it to him, and he thrives. And let me tell you this, when a man feels admired, he becomes addicted to that feeling. He wants more of it, and he wants it from you, the woman he loves. That's when he starts going crazy in a good way. He'll work harder. He'll be more affectionate. He'll listen more. He'll show up in ways you didn't even expect, all because you tapped into the deepest part of him with that one compliment of admiration. He'll replay those words over and over in his mind. You might think it was just a little thing you said, but to him, it becomes a reminder of who he is and why he matters. So yes, love is the foundation, but admiration is the spark that keeps the fire alive. Love tells him you care, but admiration tells him you believe in him. Love comforts him, but admiration challenges him to rise higher. And when you give a man that admiration, even in the smallest compliment, you'll see him transform before your very eyes. That's why I say admiration isn't just extra, it's essential. One thing that changes the whole game when it comes to complimenting a man is being specific. Now, a general "you're great" or "you're amazing" is nice, but it doesn't hit the soul the way something detailed does. A man hears "you're great" and it kind of floats past him. He appreciates it, but it doesn't sink in. But when you tell him, "I love how you always make sure this house feels safe," or "I admire the way you handle our finances so responsible," or "I appreciate how you protect me when I feel vulnerable," now that right there lands in his chest. It doesn't sound like fluff. It sounds real, it sounds intentional, and most importantly, it sounds like you actually see him. Men want to be noticed. They don't always say it, but that's what they crave. They want to feel like the work they do, the little things they handle, the way they show up, it's being recognized. A vague compliment doesn't tell him you've been paying attention, but a specific one, that's proof you're watching, you're acknowledging, and you're valuing the exact things he puts effort into. It's the difference between somebody clapping for a team and somebody chanting the name of a player who just scored. When you get specific, it makes him feel like the star of the game. Let me paint you a picture. Say a man spends all day fixing something around the house, a leaky faucet, a broken chair, or some other thing that's been bugging you. Now, you could just say, "Thanks, baby, you're the best." And he'll smile, sure. But if you look at him and say, "I love how you always make sure our home is taken care of. You're so good with your hands, and I feel lucky that I don't have to worry about this stuff because you handle it," that changes everything. That compliment is not just appreciation, it's admiration wrapped in detail. And he'll carry that moment with him thinking, "She noticed, she sees me." Specific compliments stick in a man's memory because they validate his identity. They make him feel like what he does defines him in a positive way. When you say, "I love how smart you are with money," it tells him he's not just surviving financially, he's respected as a provider. When you say, "I love the way you protect me," it tells him he's not just another guy, he's your hero. And men, no matter how tough they act, want to feel like somebody's hero. That's why being specific is so powerful. It shapes how he sees himself. Another reason specificity works is because it gives him a clear message of what you value. Men want to know what works. They want to know what makes their woman feel happy, secure, loved, and cared for. So when you highlight something specific, you're telling him, do more of that. If you say, "I love the way you hold me when I'm stressed," you're showing him that's the kind of intimacy that matters. If you say, "I love how you always think ahead and plan for us," You're encouraging him to keep being thoughtful. Specificity not only compliments the man, it guides him. It shows him how to keep winning with you. Here's the other side of it. Men don't forget specifics. A general compliment might fade out of his mind in a few hours, but a specific one, especially when it ties into his purpose, his role, or his masculinity, stays with him. He'll think back on it when he's tired at work. He'll remember it when he's stressed. He'll replay it in his head when he needs motivation. It becomes a part of the fuel that keeps him going. Think about it like planting seeds. A general compliment is like tossing a handful of seeds into the wind. You don't know where they'll land, and most of them won't grow. But a specific compliment is like planting one seed deep in good soil, watering it, and making sure it gets sunlight. That seed is going to grow strong. It's going to last. That's the difference. So don't just say, you're amazing. Tell him why he's amazing. Tell him exactly what you see, exactly what you value, exactly what you admire. Those are the compliments that make a man's chest swell with pride. Those are the compliments that make him walk a little taller. And those are the compliments that keep him crazy about you, because at the end of the day, every man just wants to be seen, and specificity is the clearest way to show him you really see him. Timing is everything when it comes to complimenting a man. You can say the right words, but if they don't come at the right moment, they won't carry the same weight. Compliments are like medicine. Give the right dose at the right time, and you heal somebody. Give it too late or in the wrong way, and it doesn't work. Men, just like anybody else, have highs and lows. They have moments where they feel strong, confident, and unstoppable, and they have moments where they feel weak, invisible, or defeated. And the truth is, it's during those low moments when a compliment can change his whole world. Picture a man who's had one of those days where nothing goes right. Work beat him down, traffic wore him out, bills are piling up, and he's questioning whether he's really making progress in life. He walks into the house heavy. Now, you could leave him to sit in that weight, or you could look at him and say, baby, I know you've had a hard day, but I just want you to know I believe in you. That moment right there is like pouring fresh energy into his spirit. Suddenly, the day doesn't feel so heavy. Suddenly, he feels like he's not in the fight alone. That's the power of timing. A compliment at the right time can make a man rise back up when life is trying to push him down. It's not that your words solve his problems, but they remind him that he's capable of solving them, and that somebody believes in him even when he doesn't believe in himself. And for a man, that reminder is priceless. It's the difference between staying stuck in doubt and stepping back into confidence. Now, compliments given when he's already feeling strong have their place too. Imagine a man just accomplished something, closed a deal, finish a tough project, or hit a personal goal. He's already proud of himself, but when you step in and say, I'm so proud of how hard you worked for that, it amplifies his joy. It makes the victory even sweeter, because now it's not just his win, it's a shared celebration. Your words at that high moment lock in the memory and make it feel unforgettable. But here's the secret. Men need compliments the most when they look like they need them the least. When he's quiet, withdrawn, or brushing things off, that's usually when his spirit is heavy. He may not say it because most men are trained to hide their struggles, but deep down, he's waiting for some kind of signal that he's still seen, still appreciated, still respected. If you catch him in those moments and drop the right words, You're doing more than giving a compliment. You're breathing life into him. The timing of a compliment also shows awareness. It tells him you're paying attention not just to what he does, but to how he feels. It says you're tuned into his moods, his energy, his struggles, and his victories. That awareness builds trust because he knows he doesn't have to spell everything out for you. He knows you've got his back without him having to ask. And for a man, that kind of support is rare. A well-timed compliment becomes a turning point in his day, sometimes even in his life. He can be standing at a crossroads of doubt and determination, and your words can tip the scale. You might not realize the power you hold in that moment, but when your compliment comes at just the right time, it's the difference between him giving up and him pushing forward with everything he's got. That's how strong timing is. So yes, it matters what you say, but it matters just as much when you say it. The right compliment at the right moment can lift him, restore him, and even change the way he sees himself. And once a man feels that kind of timely support, it's something he'll never forget. Compliments are powerful, but let me tell you something. Consistency is what keeps that power alive. You can't give a man one compliment every few months and expect it to last. That's like watering a plant once and then wondering why it dried up. Men need steady reminders that they're seen, valued, and appreciated. It doesn't mean you have to shower him with praise every single second, but it does mean creating a rhythm where he knows without a doubt that you recognize him. Think about it this way. When a man is out there grinding, he's running on empty more often than he admits. The world doesn't clap for him. People expect him to provide, fix, lead, and protect without much acknowledgement. That's why consistent compliments hit differently. When he keeps hearing, "I love the way you always make sure we're okay," or "I respect how you never give up," it builds a foundation in him. Those words don't just boost him for the moment, they start shaping the way he sees himself every day. The mistake people make is thinking compliments should only come on special occasions. They wait for birthdays, anniversaries, or big achievements. But the truth is, it's the everyday moments that matter most. When he's taking out the trash, when he's working late, when he's just being dependable. Those are the times when a little recognition goes a long way. That consistency tells him, I don't just appreciate the big things. I appreciate the man you are all the time. And let's be clear, consistency doesn't mean fake. A man can spot empty flattery from a mile away. What he needs is genuine, thoughtful recognition that comes often enough to remind him he's not invisible. That kind of steady encouragement creates trust, security, and connection. It makes him want to keep showing up, keep giving, keep being the best version of himself because he knows you see him every step of the way. Consistency in compliments turns a spark into a fire that never goes out. It keeps a man fueled, it keeps him motivated, and it keeps him crazy about you because he knows his efforts will never go unnoticed. How you deliver a compliment matters just as much as what you say. Words have power, but the tone, the look, and the touch behind those words can make them unforgettable. A man hears compliments from the outside world sometimes, but the way his woman says it is different. When you look him in the eye, when your voice softens, when you add a smile or touch his arm while you say it, that delivery takes a simple phrase and turns it into something he carries in his heart. You could say, I believe in you in a quick, distracted tone, and he'll hear it, but it might pass by like background noise. But if you stop what you're doing, put your hand on his chest, look straight at him and say slowly, I believe in you, that moment hits different. It sinks in. It becomes a memory he replays whenever he needs to remind himself that he's not alone in this world. Delivery shows intention. It shows that you mean every word you're saying. Men are not always verbal creatures, but they're visual and emotional. They watch your eyes, they hear your tone, they feel your touch. When all of that lines up with your compliment, it lands in their soul. A simple, I'm proud of you, whispered in his ear with warmth, can carry more weight than 100 casual, I love you. And here's the beauty of delivery. It makes him feel chosen. The way you lower your voice, the way you smile when you compliment him, the way you make him feel like he's the only man in the room when you say those words, that's what makes him go crazy. That's what makes him think about it long after the moment has passed. Because it's not just words, it's an experience. When the delivery is right, a compliment becomes more than encouragement. It becomes a bond. It becomes a reminder that you don't just see him, you feel him, you believe in him, and you're standing right there with him. And once a man feels that through your delivery, he'll hold on to it like treasure.